Hey YouTube, Alan back with another video, and today I'm going to be doing a very much delayed kind of a review on the iDIG Music Festival 2015. So, what is the iDIG Music Festival? Well, for those that don't know, it was a music festival about video game music, I suppose, that took place in Dublin earlier on this year. So I have the program. I'm going to use this to kind of refresh my memory as I kind of go through what it is and what was on and whatnot. So it was on April the 2nd to the 4th in Dublin, and there was a whole bunch of kind of video game composers, conductors, and people over in Dublin. There were, you know, people from Blizzard, people from the conductor from the Legend of Zelda Symphony, and there was some bands from Northern Ireland and a few people from all over the place, and there was the DIT, you know, traditional ensemble. But anyway, I'll get into that in more detail. So, in other words, there was a whole host of things going on. There was also topped off by the Video Game Live concert. Now, Video Game Live, or Video Games Live, probably doesn't really require too much of an introduction. It's basically a massive fusion of orchestra, video games, and, you know, big screen experience. It's awesome. There's so much on the web already about Video Games Live. I'm not really going to go into it too much. So yeah, it was a 3-day event, and there was a lot happening. I actually only heard about it relatively late on in the day, so I was glad to be able to get tickets. And on top of the kind of the talks and the kind of shows that were on, there was also a kind of a communal area where there was some stalls with stuff to sell, or with, you know, people that had you know, that were playing their music. They had their CDs and stuff. There was a section for indie developers. Irish indie developers had a few games set up that you could try out and whatnot. And then there was just some art displays for video game art, people who do art on video games. So it was kind of like, I guess, a collage of people who are artistically interested in video games with a specific interest, though, for music composition. That's not to say, though, that you have to be into kind of music or be, you know, into the technical aspect of music to enjoy it. I certainly have no musical knowledge at all. I appreciate video game music for sure, but I was able to enjoy almost all the talks regardless. So with that said, let's kind of run down what was on each day and so on. So, as I said, I'm going to go through the program. Opening the program, by the way, talks about the people that set it up. I should have mentioned it's Emer Noon, Craig Stewart Garfinkel, and Chris Rook. They basically had the concept of, how about we get all these talented musicians and whatnot and bring them over to Dublin and actually have a kind of a gaming music conference in Dublin, because we generally don't have video game related conferences and expos and whatnot in Dublin. It was so nice not to have to travel to this, well, travel far. So, first day we started off with an introduction by Craig Stewart Garfinkel himself, and he spoke about, what did he speak about? He demonstrated his approach to creating video game music, and that was actually really interesting. I think he'd done himself a bit of disservice by saying that he wasn't, or he gave himself the worst slot. In some ways, it's quite an important slot when you're opening up an expo, or at least from a more technical presentation standpoint. Usually the first presentation is kind of the keynote, which everyone attends, and he certainly started things off really on a very interesting note, I felt. It was a bit technical because it was talking about the different programs you can use to create the different musical components, and how you kind of, might start off with a piano and create your little bit, and then you'd bring that to such and such a thing on a computer, and then you'd scale it up, and how you might make it sound with a big orchestra and so on. A lot of it was kind of like, woo, from a technical standpoint, but at the same stage it was quite fascinating. And Craig is very amenable, very friendly, and really, you know, brought it all together rather nicely. Great presenter, if you know what I mean. Then after that technical talk, we had a bit of a break where we had a piano composition by J.J. McNamara. Now, for people in Ireland the name McNamara and music has long since been incredibly associated, because his father Frank McNamara has done loads and loads of things. For me, I'll always remember him as being the kind of musical director on the Late Late Show. But J.J. McNamara is a young pianist, and he won some awards recently, and you can understand why. He was very, very good. He can play, and chances are he's going to be big. So that was kind of like breaking up the technical talks, because after that we went straight into Emer Noon's kind of conducting seminar, and it was very much a two-part talk. The first part was Emer talking about how she got into kind of music and where the passion came from, and some of her kind of education background and the road she had to go on. And then she kind of gave a bit of a kind of like a real kind of your entry into like if you're doing your first piece of conducting and how to do it. And everyone was kind of up and, as if this is the kind of few basic movements, which I've already forgotten. Hey, I'm not a conductor. It was very interesting, and I could certainly see how when you have the passion to do those things and it gets under your skin, it's almost like you don't have a choice. And that's something that's a theme throughout everyone's talk. It was almost like, well, these are their professions. For a lot of them, it was like, no, we have to do this. This is why we exist. So, what was then? The next, we broke it up with another musical interlude, and you may notice it goes back and forth like this, which I actually feel was a very good way to set it up, so it wasn't too dry, lots of technical talks. You kind of had a technical talk and a bit of music and so on. We had the Spoony Bards. I'd never heard of them before this, but they were really, really good. So basically, the Spoony Bards are a Belfast band, and they play video game music with a rock emphasis, and they do it as bards. That's the best way I can describe it. So they come on and act as if they're travelling to these lands, and they have this whole spiel and whatnot, and then they really can rock. I'm telling you, like, their F-Zero music in particular was just awesome. I was really surprised by them. I didn't expect much, but very, very good, and you can tell they're all very talented too. So, after that we went on to another talk, and then it was Christopher Tin's kind of how to win a Grammy, or basically talking about his Grammy that he won for Baba Yetu, which of course is the kind of opening or menu theme for Civilization 4. And it is a tremendous piece of music. Regardless if it's video game or not, it's a really, really good piece of music. It totally deserved all the accolades that it has gotten over time. And it was quite fascinating to kind of hear kind of his influences too. And actually, that one was kind of compared, if you will, by Tommy Tallarico. I don't think he was meant to be doing it, but there seemed to be some sort of mix-up with a flight anyway, and he did a great job. I'll be talking a bit more about him later on, and he's always great fun anyway. So, there was 2 more events that day. I was only able to attend one of them, and that was the Triforce Quartet. And they are, as I have here, because I got their CD, they are a 4-piece string quartet that do lots of classic video game music. In this case, it looks like the Triforce Quartet. You gotta get the Zelda in, don't you? Well, apparently, and the first I didn't play Zelda. Someone said to them, "Hey, you're called the Triforce Quartet, and you didn't play Zelda?" They're very good too. I mean, I'm saying this again. There wasn't really a bum note, so to speak, in the whole thing. These guys were flown over from America, and they'd actually done PAX and MagFest, so they played the kind of big American ones too. So it was great to have them over in Ireland, and some of the music, you kind of don't expect it to be able to be captured so well on 4 instruments, but they do. Very good. And they do most of it by ear, especially the older stuff. Like, I spoke to them about it afterwards, because, as another point, for the whole show, pretty much everyone there was very approachable. And I think everyone that I've mentioned I pretty much spoke to after their talks, or just mingling around in the open area, they were very willing to have a chat with everyone, very receptive, and a real friendly atmosphere. And yeah, what can I say? They were great. So the last event was the kind of cos ball. Unfortunately, due to other commitments, I actually wasn't able to go to that. But from all accounts, it was a great night, and there was also a lot of prizes given at it too. So yeah, if you're one to watch out for in future. So anyway, on to Friday, because I want to keep moving on this. We had a talk from Neil Acree, and he was talking about essentially composing music for cutscenes and cinematics in video games, and he showed an example that he worked on for World of Warcraft, and how he kind of went from the kind of prototype, if you will, to the finished article. Again, it was slightly technical talk, and yet still utterly fascinating. Possibly because, just like Craig, very, very good at presenting what it is he's talking about, and doesn't help that the music is bloody good too. So, after that then we flipped, we had some more music, we had the classic battles. This was really strange. I've actually put up a clip on the channel from their show. They had this really unusual take on Sonic the Hedgehog music. I'll be honest, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, just personally my opinion, out of the whole week, or out of the whole weekend, probably the low point. Purely because the music wasn't quite my cup of tea. And I felt that was strange because I love music in Sonic the Hedgehog. I think it's usually got a great soundtrack. But it almost felt that this music was so experimental, or such a unique take on it, it nearly didn't feel like Sonic the Hedgehog to me. In fact, it was one of those things where, when you have, the beat of a song, and you're expecting the next beat in your head, and it repeatedly doesn't follow that. It starts to get a bit disorientation. So it's kind of like, that's not how it's meant to go. So, maybe there was a bit of that going on. I mean, again, very competent, very, accomplished musicians, but not quite my cup of tea. So, we had another big talk after that from Russell Brower called A Blizzard in Dublin. So basically, he's the head of audio and music at Blizzard. So, pretty big deal. And he kind of gave very much a kind of a talk about how he got into the music business and what it was like working in Blizzard. It was much more a casual conversation. He's a fascinating man. Really good stories and such a kind heart. Again, not what I was expecting from the talk, but really, really captivating. It was one of those, he just seemed to have all these anecdotes and whatnot that you were captivated the whole time. And one part that really stuck out to me was, well, there's two parts. One is a personal one that I won't go into, and another one was where he was talking about the sound design approach, and he said, I worked in the kind of sound in Disneyland, so in the theme parks. And he said, making a game like World of Warcraft, you actually do take a lot of that inspiration with you, because you do have this kind of three-dimensional sound, all these different kind of conflicting sounds, and how you manage them. So if you think about when you're walking through a theme park, and you have like this ride going off and that ride, and all these different effects and all this different music, and how you mix it together, very interesting, and a really nice guy. So the next talk is one that I was only partially familiar with, and that's Gillian and Andrew Aversa. Now, I knew a little bit about both of these people, but it wasn't, compared to other people, wasn't really sure who they were. Now, Gillian Aversa, for those that don't know, she is a vocalist, and she has done, vocals for Halo and God of War and Soul Calibur and whatnot. And by God, can she sing. She sung at the Video Games Live on the Saturday night. Yeah, not only can she sing, but she can really control the crowd. I found it really interesting how much presence she had for someone that's so dainty, it seems. And Andrew Aversa, the name might not be familiar, but I would say a website that he's very strongly involved with would be, and that's OC Remix. OC Remix is, you know, just home to all this great kind of take on classic video game music and even modern video game music. And it's grown so well over the years, and I love the fact that now you even have some of the original artists and composers doing, you know, remixes on OC Remix. It's crazy. Like David Wise did a remix on the Serious Monkey Business album on OC Remix. So yeah, their talk then, sorry, I'm getting a bit who they are. Their talk, they spoke about, you know, kind of, it was very much like fun, like it was almost like a complete release talk. It was just like the history almost of music and video games and some comedy bits about you know, bad voice acting and all this sort of stuff. So it was just like a fun talk. You know, it wasn't as technical or wasn't as serious as some of the others, but just fun. And it was actually a great way to kind of, because there was a lot going on. It was jam packed. Every day was jam packed, and that was a great way to kind of just a little pressure relief, just kind of little light entertainment. Even though it seems funny to say that because it was all entertaining, but that was a nice little break. So after after their talk, we had another session with the Triforce Quartet, and this time they played some Zelda, and it was awesome. And they're, as I said, very, very talented. So we had a piece that I wasn't honestly expecting much. It was called the Demo Derby Roundtable. So what that was a whole bunch of composers, all of them sitting in the audience, had sent in some samples first to essentially be reviewed by the people that we'd seen over the last few days. So Tommy Tallarico was there, Christopher Tin was there, Neil Acree was there, and Russell Brower were all there, and they were basically, Craig would play the clip or part of the clip, and we would all listen to music, and then they'd kind of give their feedback. So kind of, I guess you could say, like a talent show, whatever. But unlike talent shows you see on TV, it was really constructive and really well, you know, you could see that there was a lot of care about the music that the people had put in, and it wasn't trying to be insulting or, hey, this doesn't work or that's terrible. None of that kind of TV crap. It was more genuinely trying to give them good feedback. And for a person that's actually composing music, what an opportunity. Have Emmy Award winners and people that are like 20 years experience in it critiquing and giving you constructive feedback. That is a chance not to be missed. And so much so that it was so popular. And for 2016, they're going to double the time for that. And they definitely need to, because it was an hour, but it so needed more. They just were only scratching the surface. And again, I didn't compose anything, I didn't send anything in, but it was so interesting to hear the feedback. So, we then finished Friday night with the highlight of the weekend, and that was the DIT Irish Trad Music Ensemble. I spoke about this in a Kickstarter video that I did a few weeks back, because this was so good, they realised they have to record it and make a CD. And I really implore you to go and check out that Kickstarter. I'm going to put a link in the description below, because wow, was this good. When you think music, you think passion, you think energy and emotion, and this was all of that. It was just remarkable. And again, maybe it's the Irish person in me kind of saying, yes, you know, feeling the connection between these great classic scores, especially the Zelda stuff, and, you know, this traditional music that you're so used to hearing, and just, as you know, the fusion of it was so perfect. And that's not to mention the performers. Some of them were just outstanding. It was so good. It blew me away. I could not believe it, because I wasn't like, you know, you know the people like, you know, from Blizzard or whatever, and you kind of think, yeah, they're going to be good. You know, they're in the industry. I thought the DIT thing would be, it'd be okay, whatever. Wow, was I wrong. I was so wrong. So, that's Friday. Saturday there was only the one thing, it was kind of the main event, if you will, and it was Video Games Live. And I tweeted at the time, my God, they're going to have to go some on Video Games Live to top the DIT Ensemble. It was good. Video Games Live is always good. I've seen it before. But I'm sorry, the DIT Ensemble was even better. Anyway, Video Games Live. Tommy Tallarico's show. He's just got so much charisma. He's great on stage, and it was a great show. Very, very good. You know, I don't really want to comment too much about it because it's, you know, everyone's commented about it. It's a well-known entity. It's fun. It's enjoyable, and I think people who don't necessarily like video games would definitely enjoy the show because it's just a fun experience. And that kind of brings me on to another point I want to make. The audience. For most of the weekend, we were in the Dublin Convention Centre, so it's a big place, but we had a few rooms and whatnot. And that was fine for all the talks and whatnot. For the DIT Ensemble, I kind of felt, man, these people deserve a bigger space, a bigger audience. And certainly for Video Games Live, I felt that the audience wasn't quite there. I don't know, was it just wanting to sell enough tickets or whatever? Maybe just didn't people were put off because of the whole video games thing. I don't know. I certainly noticed that a lot of the balcony seemed to be empty, and I thought that was such a shame because it's such fun. And I remember a few of my friends, I said, hey, look, I've got discount codes for the show. Do you want to come? Because I had got the tier 1 tickets. And I was like, seriously, you're going to enjoy it. Like, it's good. I said, you don't have to like video games. And I wonder, is it just they can't get their head around it? Because after, we met some friends after the show. And I was showing, I played some of the music for them. And they were like, that's good. They were kind of like shocked. I was like, seriously? You gotta listen to this, it's good. So hopefully next year, maybe the word of mouth will kind of spread a bit more and it'll get out there. If I was to kind of say what the target audience would be, I would say, yeah, naturally, you would think that you're going to get a lot of video game people, and particularly kind of people that are, doing music as a career or learning music in school or whatever. And I definitely feel that for the overall weekend, that is probably the target demographic and who will enjoy it the most. But for Video Games Live, I think anyone could go to that and completely enjoy it. So, I'm going to try and sum it up now, because as I said, there's a lot to talk about in this. It was good. Very emotional. So I feel emotional about it, even just talking about it now. And it's ages. Wow. Yeah. What would I do different? To be honest, not much. I'm not 100% sure that the convention centre is the best place for that, due to just the setup of the different stages and the kind of the inability to fill the main kind of hall for Video Games Live. But other than that, I think it was fine. They realised that the dates, April the 2nd to April the 4th, may not have been the best because it fell on Good Friday. And for those of you that do not know, Good Friday in Ireland is a dry day. Us Irish have a reputation for kind of overindulging in the old black stuff. We've got a reputation for drinking too much. But we do that 364 days of the year, because on Good Friday, no, you can't sell alcohol, you can't buy alcohol, nope, no alcohol. So when you're trying to have like an after event or a cosball or whatever, it makes it a bit difficult. So they've moved it. So next year, the show's coming back, and it's going to be, it's in May, I think it's the May bank holiday. That would be a better weekend for it, I think. The tickets are already on sale. If you go to the website, I'm going to put a link in the description below. I think they're doing early bird discounts right now, so 2 for 1. Definitely worth checking out if they're still available. I would definitely recommend people going to it. If I was the organisers, I would wonder, and I really don't want to step out of line with these type of things, but when I seen the back of Video Games Live, I thought, God, this is such a shame. I wonder if it would have been possible to do some sort of discounted ticket approach for some schools or something. I think in particular when I was in secondary school and we were doing kind of English and we were working on particular plays or whatever, our schools sometimes were able to get discounted tickets to, especially some of the previews of plays, so we could go and see what it is we were studying. And the tickets would be substantially reduced versus the face value. But it was great, like, in particular, sometimes maybe it wouldn't have all the, you know, you kind of have the worst seats, or you wouldn't have all the performers depending on the show, you know, you wouldn't have all the main stars. But for us as kids, we were kind of just getting exposed to this. It was great to be able to do it, you know, cheaply. But yeah, I don't think I'd change too much other than that. I definitely recommend people go. I think I've already said that, but I want to sum up with my pickups because, hey, I do pickup videos most of the time. So I already had picked up the Triforce Quartet CD. This is actually, I could show you inside, but I can't because the CD's in the car. It's been in the car for ages. I just like listening to the music. I got a Video Games Live CD, but it is also in the car. Actually, the whole CD is in the car, so I can't even show you that. I did get a few signatures, though, so a bit of a different pickups. I got Tommy Tallarico to sign this Bard's Tale game. He did the music to this. I've actually done a gameplay on it, because the music nearly one of the best things. It's hilarious. And because I was tier 1, I got a few music scores. So, oops. We got Baba Yetu, signed by Christopher Tin, and we have Malak, Angel Messenger, signed by Emer Noon. She even got the Triforce on that one, which is cool. Because, of course, you know, whenever you think of Emer Noon, I think you certainly can't help but think of Zelda as well. And we also I picked up a few of the posters, the iDIG posters, and I got the other people to sign them too. So there's lots of cool signatures to collect, and all this is going to be framed. Actually, I've been meaning to get around for that for ages. I'm going to frame all these and put them over where the piano and whatnot is, just because it ties in. But anyway, this video has been long enough. They're just my thoughts and kind of look back on the iDIG Music Fest from 2015. It was a great weekend. I definitely feel it's worth going. Certainly for anyone in Ireland, no excuses. I would even say people in the UK and whatnot, hey, it's cheap to get a Ryanair flight or whatever over. Why not make it a weekend? Ireland's a great place to be, especially on a bank holiday weekend. So, come on, get over and we'll fill these concert halls and whatnot, and you'll have a great time because it is a good event. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be back again with another video soon. Bye for now.